Now that we know how to use our props to keep ourselves safe and feeling nice and secure and supported, we're going to talk about the hand placement, the distance. Hand placement is going to be about shoulder width. You're going to want your fingers mostly pointing forward. They can point out just a little bit to the side to take a little bit of pressure off of your wrists. Show that from the front. And then I'll show it from the back as well. So if you're looking to find balance here, like I said, the more surface area, the better. So get that whole shin on that whole arm, and then just look forward, lean forward. You don't even have to point your toes, but if you want to, you're flying. And then from here, maybe when you feel secure, push through your shoulders. Bring your heels in towards your butt and set down with control. One of the exercises that we're going to be doing a lot is scapular push-ups. If you are ready, go ahead and set up for your plank pose, and we'll talk about scapular push-ups while we're in plank, just to feel the extra burn. So, in scapular push-ups, you want to keep everything pretty straight. So you can have a little micro bend in your elbow, but mostly you want to be straight. And from here, you're going to push the ground away from you. You see that lift that I got? Now drop it down without bending your elbows. Push and drop. Push and drop. Lower your knees. That is the same push that you're going to be using in crow to get the lift from resting here to flying up here. So practice those scapular push-ups a ton until you can feel that engagement and that lift right here. You can also do, instead of a traditional straight, strong plank, just hold a rounded plank position with those shoulders pushing and doming in your upper back. That will also help to build tremendous strength for your crow. Now that we've talked about where to place our knees, where to place our hands, we're going to talk about where we're going to look. So if we're in crow, and if I'm looking straight here in between my thumbs, do you see what happens? Your energy goes where you look. That's true of anything, in yoga and in life, right? Wherever you put your attention, wherever you put your focus, your energy is going to flow. That's where you're going to go. So you don't want to be looking here, because that's not where you want to be going. You don't want to be going down. You want to be flying up. So where you're going to want to look is out. Think of a line coming from your eyes towards the mat, probably a good 6 inches to 1 foot out. This is demonstrated by my lovely assistant there. And when your energy is looking out, you'll have a really nice counterbalance. So if my hands are here, I'm looking about here. Play with the adjustment, but your focus, your drishti, your gaze, that's going to be really important in finding your balance. So we're going to put it all together. Knees on triceps, hands on ground. Use a block if you need, use a pillow if you need. We're going to lift up onto our tippy toes. We're going to look forward. We're going to lean forward. We're going to keep looking and keep leaning. Do you see how my toes are starting to lift a little bit? Maybe just lift one. Maybe lift two. But once you've got that balance point, you can stay down here, or you can practice pushing. Maybe you inhale and take a little breather and lower down. Exhale and push. And do some reps like that. Come out with control. And hopefully you're flying your crow. Wherever you are in your practice though, if it's not happening today, you have plenty of time. There is absolutely no hurry. and you are building lots of good strength and endurance to get you into that crow pose in the future. So these drills are going to have overlap in all of the videos. But we're going to explain them a bunch at the beginning so that you really get them down. Maybe you'll pick up a tip when you're practicing it alongside the video versus when you're just watching it for information. So let's get started. When you think about crow pose, it's really more than just upper body strength. It's whole body engagement. You've got that core pulling in, you've got the lift through the shoulders, you've got the pull of your hands gripping the ground, you've got your knees pulling in, you've got your heels pulling up towards your butt, you're pulling up through your back, maybe your butt is lifting if you're trying to push even higher into crane. There's a lot going on. It's a complicated pose. But we're going to break it down, starting with hips right now. So Malasana is going to be your best friend, as well as child's pose and happy baby. The good news is that for a lot of people, those are resting poses. The bad news is they're not resting poses for everyone. So let's talk about the setup for Malasana. Standing, you're going to squat down. You're going to be individual anatomy here as to the shape of your hip socket. So for me, my toes pointed out and my heels are a little bit wider than my hips. From here, I can dig my triceps into my knees and push them a little wider. Maybe in prayer hands, maybe you have your fists together and you can do some flossing in and out to create a little bit more opening. From the side. What you don't want is a big round if you can help it. So a lot of people have their triceps kind of knee into armpit and they're here. For me, the shape of my body is that I have to walk up a little bit to feel that nice long straight back. So remember that your practice really is going to be really individualized to you and do what feels good for you. Some people don't have the ankle mobility to be here comfortably. So what you can do is you can get a rolled up blanket or roll up your yoga mat, fold it over, set it under your heels, fold it over as many times as you want, get a block even, and sometimes that will help with the ankle mobility to be in Malasana and feel comfortable. Next up is child's pose. I encourage you to take a lot of child's poses over the next month. It's really going to help to get a nice fold here when you're in crow. Not everyone can get their butt down here to their ankles. Not everyone can get their torso to their thighs. So don't feel discouraged if yours does not look like mine. Whatever is happening for you, you be there, you hang out, and you work towards deepening it. Variations on this can be hands forward with forehead down, hands back. I like hands forward, so I'm going to go hands forward. Knees wide, feet together. Knees wide into almost a frog pose with your ankles in line with your knee. Now, if you flip that upside down, you have happy baby. So laying on your back, try to keep as much connection across the entirety of your back as possible. That means try not to round up here. Take the inside of your heels, take the outside of your feet. Use a strap to find length here. And try to pull your bottom of your spine down towards the mat to keep that contact. So here's your happy baby. Some things that you can do while you're in happy baby is pull one knee in and stretch it out. Pull the other knee in and stretch it back out. You can rock from side to side, lengthening the leg that's towards the ground and back in. This feels really good. So it's a great way to start your practice for a warm-up for your hips and also to end your practice restorative. You can also grab your feet together in a bind here. Feels really good. I'll fall asleep here if I hang out too long. But the other thing that we can do while we're down here is supine crows. So while I had said in your happy baby to not have your hips off of the ground, we're going to purposefully have our hips off of the ground for a supine crow. So if you think about doing crow pose and taking the balance out of it entirely, only working on the shape and the core engagement, that's what we're about to do here. So set your knees on your triceps, raising your shoulders up off of the ground, hips up off of the ground. Pull your heels in towards your butt and push your hands out. Try to get your wrists flat, really pull in. So hips off of the ground, shoulders off of the ground. Keep everything really nice and tight. Hands flat, palms flat, and release. That gives you the feeling, the shape, the body awareness, the connection of being in crow. Let's go ahead and do that one more time. So set up knees on tricep, raising shoulders off of the ground, raising hips off of the ground. Pull everything in closer, heels towards butt, hands up, arms extended, palms flat. Squeeze tighter, tighter, tighter. Hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. That's supine crow. I recommend that you do it every day. We'll take a little core break and go into more hips. So as long as your wrists are nice and warmed up, step back into your plank pose. Push yourself back into a downward facing dog. Pedal it out here. Make yourself nice and comfortable. When you're ready, walk one foot in a little bit towards center. Float the other leg up into a three-legged dog. On an exhale, bring your knee in towards your ribs and pause here before bringing your foot all the way down to the outside of that same side hand. Now, if you need to stop here and walk up, that's totally fine. There is no prize for getting your foot all the way to the mat without a pause. When you get here and you're comfortably set up, walk your hands out just a little bit and get up onto fingertips. This will take any pressure off of your wrists and allow you to just hang out and really focus on your hips. Feel some movement and some push through those back toes and sway here. Backwards and forwards, side to side, whatever feels good. Maybe walk your hands out a little bit more to get a little deeper. There is no right or wrong. And then whenever you're ready, we'll repeat on the other side. Feel free to pause. Feel free to do this in your own time, whatever feels right for you. So make your way back to downward facing dog. Walk the opposite side foot in a little bit as you had the last time. Float the other side up. On your exhale, bring your knee into your ribs. And then set that foot down on the outside of the hand. Walk your hands out a little bit and find that same movement. Or different, whatever feels good. My sides are not the same, so do whatever feels right on that side. Can you tell I did landscaping earlier today? Find a little push through that back foot, forward and backwards, side to side. Walk your hands out. And whenever you're ready, come back to your plank pose. Drop down to forearms. We'll talk about forearm plank here. One of the reasons that your forearm plank can be a really good place to hang out is if you're new to crow and have not spent a lot of time on your wrists can get pretty tired being in plank pose. You can get a lot of the same benefits from being in forearm plank, which is a slightly different position. So you want to squeeze all the way through your legs together, squeeze through your butt, extend your head out. Try not to do a lot of this rounding in, although it is a good exercise if you want to do reps on that. For the most part, if you're hanging out in plank, you want to be here. You can do the scapular push-ups here as well. Another fantastic drill to get your core and shoulders nice and warmed up for your crow practice. The last warm-up exercise I wanted to be talking about today is the low boat or hollow body hold. You come from a gymnastics background, it's called hollow body. You come from a yoga practice, it's called low boat. It's basically the same thing. So what you're going to want to do is set yourself up your bottom in the middle of the mat because you're going to be taking up the whole space. Roll down onto your back. Now, extend. Keep your back pushing down into the mat as much as is reasonable. If there's a little bit of space because your body does not want it to be entirely in contact, always listen to that. The one thing that we are really looking for here is to avoid that loaf of bread in the middle of our belly here. So not necessarily belly button to spine, but engagement here that doesn't allow it to puff up. So if at any point you find that you're lowering down and you see that come up, just bring your legs up a little higher. You're not winning any prizes for getting your legs lower or your arms farther out extended. You are winning prizes for doing what's best for your body and building strength in a position that actually makes sense. So, coming down, hollow body hold. You're going to extend your legs out higher is going to be easier. Arms out in front of you and by your side is going to be easier. Puppy interference is going to make it harder. Arms extended. Arms extended is going to be harder. Lower is going to be harder. So here is a fantastic place to be if that's where you feel strong and you don't have any of those things to look out for that I have mentioned. So do a bunch of hollow body holds. Time it. You might find that you can only find about 5 seconds of good form in there where you feel nice and strong, but that will build really quickly into 10, 20, 30, 40 seconds holds, longer if you're really looking to feel the burn there. But again, those are not an exhaustive list of warm-up for crow pose, but it's a really good starting place for today. Feel free to repeat as many of those as you'd like for as many reps as you'd like. Add in anything that you feel like is missing. And as always, do not forget to warm up your wrists and work on that strength. That's a big piece of firewood, buddy. How about we don't do that? You're gonna be all sooty now. Did that big bad bee scare you? Did he scare you?